Climate town, climate town, climate town. Fast fashion is ruining merch. Let's go.
Powerful force in the modern world. You think you're just throwing on your favorite band shirt, but really you're now walking the streets in a magnet that attracts a few people you want to talk to and about 100 absolute weirdos who haven't had a consensual conversation in over a decade. Seriously though, buying and wearing merch can be a great way of supporting something you care about.
Merchandising. And the t-shirt is everything.
I treasured that shirt. I love that shirt.
But the problem with merch and the vast majority of modern clothing is that it's being made to be thrown away. And that's not an exaggeration. Most of today's clothes are being manufactured for dirt cheap using terrible labor standards and low quality materials and being shipped thousands of miles to stores around the world only to be worn an average of 7 times before being discarded and ending up in a landfill.
And the worst part is all of that stuff that you're getting is dog shit quality. And a lot of stores that sell clothes for expensive prices aren't even good. There are a lot of really good, like, I don't know what the term would be. I guess like designers, people who, the people that you hire to help you dress yourself. I forget the name of it. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You guys know what I'm talking about. A lot of those people do breakdowns of companies like Zara or like other relatively big-ish companies that have shirts that are like $100 and the quality is still bad. Stylists, correct.
And that's if they get worn at all, because we are landfilling unused merchandise at a staggering rate. And if you're wondering why all that unused merchandise doesn't just get donated...
Shein is also using Uyghur forced labor. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, like, I think all of us were on the same page that if you're getting a shirt that costs less than $20 and it's not thrifted, it's being made by basically slave labor.
Donated to a thrift store, a lot of it does. But due to the sheer volume of clothing we produce...
At this point, I've worn all the clothes I have like 700 plus times. I don't like change. Well, I love buying new accessories and new ways to like upgrade certain outfits that maybe I feel like have gotten a bit boring. But that's why I go thrifting, right? Because thrifting is like such a good way to fix all of the problems that I have, where number one, the clothes are pretty cheap. Number two, the clothes are used, so it means that they'll actually probably last a long time. Somebody else already thought that they looked good. Somebody else wore them for presumably a while, and they're still in good quality. So chances are, if they lasted them, they're probably going to last me. And when I have stuff that I no longer want, I can go drop it off at the thrift store myself.
Up to 90% of donated clothes get rejected, and chances are it'll end up right back at the dump with its friends. It is now so cheap to make merch that companies will order thousands of shirts, give away as many as they can for promotion, and then trash whatever they've got left. There's actually an industry term regarding branded merch. They call it brand fill, which is exactly what it sounds like. And I don't normally like puns, but for some reason, that one really pops. But I don't want to shit on selling merch altogether. It's one of the most consistent ways for bands and entertainers and content creators to make any money. Now that streaming services have absolutely destroyed album sales, musicians are finding it a lot easier to make $15 selling one shirt than they are scraping together thousands of unique listens at less than half a penny per play. Now, I may not be a singer, songwriter, fun guy to talk to at parties. But since merch is a good way of getting the word out about your stuff, we wanted to make some Climate Town t-shirts. When we found out about the mountains of disposable merch and the emissions and labor violations associated with it, we decided we could feel okay about it by finding a supplier who sources their materials responsibly and pays their workers a living wage. The thing is, we simply could not find that person. It was crazy. We spent literal years looking around and not making merch. But then we found a way to make shirts that we feel pretty good about, we think could be a template for other people who want to make merch too. Are they perfect? Probably not. But we figured we'd make an episode about the process and the overall problems with merch as we try to figure it out ourselves. And maybe there's a way to make merch that doesn't feel terrible. Or maybe not. You be the judge. Hi, I'm Raleigh Williams, the guy with a climate science and policy degree and the proud new owner of 846 Climate Town t-shirts. And this is a video about the heaping pile of garbage that is merch. Welcome to Climate Town.
I found the video that I was trying to find, or like the channel that I like that talks about this. Even companies that sell higher quality clothes, or they call it higher quality clothes, are still using dog shit materials that won't last you, like here.
Let me show you why you can't trust brand name. This shirt is from Banana Republic and it's almost $200. You can see the front is quite bumpy and uneven. Up here as well. From the same brand, their suiting is actually done quite well. It's fully lined, it has premium details like this lining and the pocket. It has good structure on the shoulders, 98% wool with 2% elastic for a little bit of stretch. The matching pants are the same fabric. The stitching is done quite well. The inside stitching looks good too, although it is unlined, so they may be itchy, but it's very rare to find lined pants. The wool is RWS certified. All this to say you can't assume something's good because it comes from a certain brand. You do have to examine each piece and know what you're looking for so that you get the best bang for your buck.
So like, this shirt is being sold for $200 and the stitching is done poorly. And she has a lot of videos like this where she talks about how there's a lot of companies that sell brand new products that are like $100, $200, $300. And the clothes is, they're shit.
Have you ever thought a guy was really cute when he was far away, but when he came closer, you realize that's not the case? If that guy was a clothing brand, it would be Oakenford. Because their window displays look cute at first glance, but when you look closer, like this top, you can see the piping here is uneven. This collar doesn't lay flat. The pocket too. Here's a close-up. This is just embarrassing. And it's not like the clothes are cheap. And this blazer for $130. Look at this. That's so messy. That's crooked. Look at this monstrosity. Like, what? These ruffle dresses are trendy, but this one's so unflattering because these ruffles add width to your body, and I don't know anyone that looks better wider. Have you ever thought a guy was
like clothing that's like $100, $200? You put it in the wash once and it's getting destroyed. Destroyed.
Let's review Veronica Beard, this time with try-ons. We're gonna review this dress. She's cute, but is she worth it? Now right off the bat, you can tell someone made her with love. There's a seam down right here to make room for your bust. Same seam in the lining so that it fits perfectly together. The back is also nicely done. It's symmetrical and you can barely tell the zipper is there. They also took the time to attach the lining of the skirt to the shell so it doesn't shift around. The strap's also nicely done. A little loose thread there, but otherwise pretty good. The stitching is straight. There's no fabric sticking out. This is where I was disappointed. 36% acrylic. From my personal experience, there's no such thing as good quality acrylic. All the acrylic I've seen peels really fast and looks old really fast. For a dress that's $450, I don't know. What do you think? Will you buy
$450 and it's like 50% fucking plastic? That's a Walmart dress, dog. Yeah. 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 But she has like a really good channel. Basically, she just talks about how
Let's review
a lot of these companies that pretend to be like high fashion, that pretend to have high quality clothes, you still can't just trust them anymore. Because I feel like it used to be the case that if you bought a $100 pair of boots, they would last you your whole life. And now you can spend $300 on a pair of boots and they won't even last you a fucking week.
the Anthropologie summer collection, starting with this top with the unfinished hem. Although I like the buttons and I like the pleats, when companies do this, it shows me they don't care about making clothes that last. Because this hem is not going to last more than a few washes. It's just going to keep unraveling.
Correct,
This ruffled
Jimmy.
dress was pretty from afar, but if you look up close, these stitches are quite loose, and it looks quite messy. I thought this dress was quite cute. The ruching on the front is quite unique, but I couldn't find it on the floor. I thought this dress was quite pretty too. I like how they incorporated the dye pattern into the design. This dress looked good from far away, but when I looked at it up close, it kind of looks like a DIY project. This tweed vest is almost $200, and although the surface of the fabric is quite uniform and smooth, if you look at it up close, you can see all these loose threads just waiting to get snagged. But these are really intricate buttons and they're quite pretty. But it also has a lot of acrylic, so in general, I don't think it's a good investment. In general, this is not a store I would personally shop at, but would you?
So like, That's what I'm talking about. Like, not only is fast fashion dog shit now, companies have realized that, wait, we can coast off of our brand name and also use slave labor and put out dog shit products, but mark them up a bajillion %. We used to make clothes that mattered, that actually were nice, and now we don't have to do that anymore. Prada shirts come from the same factory as Walmart shirts, no cap. That's why I buy the off-brand Amazon shit. Yeah. Innovation, baby. Innovation, baby. That's right. But yeah, I like her channel. She's Jennifer Wang. Here's her link in case anyone would like it. I honestly am going to subscribe to her because I've had to look for her stuff like multiple times, and I think it's time that I subscribe. She deserves it. Under capitalism, this will never stop being a repeated cycle. Corner the market, screw over the customers which trust you. Yep. Yep. Yeah. And that's why, like, I get most of my stuff. I try to get most of my stuff thrifting. I've bought dresses that I've gotten thrifted that it doesn't matter how many times I've washed them. They haven't pilled. They haven't had any damage. They look they look brand new, just like the day I got them years ago. And they're made to be flattering. Because, like, I don't know a lot about designing clothes. I don't know a lot about what makes clothes look good and what doesn't make clothes look good. But there's a lot of tricks you can do to make clothes more flattering for your body type and your shape, right? So, like, there are certain ways that you can sew clothes that will accentuate certain features and hide other features, right? And it just feels like clothes don't do that anymore. At all. Shape and drape? Yeah. 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 Anyways, let's get back to the video, shall we? Have you heard about the documentary Psychology of Self? One part of it talks about how advertising, how they can convince people to buy stuff that's not practical based on emotions. I mean, that's all marketing is. That's Apple's entire shtick.
Now, there was a time where if you heard a song you liked, it probably sounded something like this. Then you'd just go home and have a nice long think about it. That was being a music fan. Hey, remember the time we heard that song? That was pretty great. But then they figured out a way to let you buy the record so you could hear the song at home.
What you're going to hear about today is nothing short of a miracle. A living stereo played on a record.
And that went well for a while, but now everyone was so goddamn addicted to music that they needed something more.
What'd you do wrong this time, Pop?
They needed all their friends and family to know exactly what kind of music they liked. They needed merch. And back then, it wasn't just t-shirts. Whoa, heard you love Elvis, friend. How about some Elvis gum, Elvis bracelets, Elvis shoes, maybe even some Elvis hound dog orange lipstick? Oh, you hate Elvis? Fantastic. Here's a pin that says, I hate Elvis. Or maybe you love the Beatles. Now, Beatles shirts are cool, but you could also have a wig. Here's a lunchbox. How about some bobbleheads?
I'd like to get 1,500.
I'd offer you like 200 bucks.
By the 1970s, AC/DC supposedly made more money selling merch than from selling tickets on their world tour. And notorious face paint enthusiast Gene Simmons is still talking about all the money he made from Kiss merchandise.
We outsell the Beatles and Elvis combined. No other music act of any kind has ever done as many tchotchkes as we have. I'm hungry.
The idea of merch has expanded even further in the past few decades and has grown to include cereal monstrosity Coronation Flakes in honor of the latest vampire who will get to be driven around the streets of London. But there is...
I'm like so annoying because I just don't like being a walking billboard for somebody else. And I don't like merch that screams the merch name on it. Like, there are very few exceptions to the rule. Very few. I don't even own anything that has a brand name on it because if your clothing is good enough or your merch is good enough or whatever, because this applies to like Gucci, just like it applies to random content creators. If your stuff is good enough, you don't need to fucking paste that logo everywhere. If the logo is in the back or like the logo is kind of like low key or something, yeah, it's chill. That's cool. But I like stuff that's like a random person might see it and be like, whoa, where'd you get that?
There is no more dominant item in the history of the multi-billion-dollar merch industry than the t-shirt.
This is a wild take, but I like to be branded like cattle. I just, like, if I buy stuff that has brand names on it, I'm buying it despite the fact that that's there.
Yes! They are
even like a band shirt, kind of yes. Like, I can't imagine, and this is just my opinion. Do what you want. Do what makes you happy. I can't imagine wearing a shirt that says like, that just like has the Beatles' faces. I want to go get you guys, I want to show you a shirt that I own. One sec.
So popular that they've become hilarious punchlines in famous comedy t-shirts. I saw blank and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. And of course, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Bazinga. They've even expanded beyond bands to include TV shows, movies, government agencies, pharmaceutical companies, family 5Ks, bachelor parties, and more. An algal bloom of custom t-shirt companies exploded in the internet age, and now there are thousands of companies eager to take care of all your merch needs. In minutes, you can get multiple designs in a dozen colors and sizes, all manufactured, printed, and shipped wherever you want. Want to sell them online? No problem. They'll even...
So this is an example of something that is branded that I like. I've had this shirt. It's honestly such nice quality. I've had this shirt for I think like a decade now. But like you can see, no pilling, still looks good. To all the people saying One Piece, no, no, no. Or to the one person, sorry, Stroman. So anyone who knows what this is in reference to, they know what it's in reference to. And to the people who don't know, it's just like, oh, nice shirt, I guess. Isn't that cool? I don't know. This is a Kill la Kill reference. For anyone who isn't watching, it just says Honoji Academy Orchestra Club, and it's got like the little skull and the like the 3 stars and stuff. But I got it at a convention, and this no joke, that does a good quality shirt. I got this at like New York Comic Con, like straight up a decade ago. It says Sanshi.com. I don't even know if they're still in business. 100% cotton. And like I've thrown that washing machine in the, or sorry. I've thrown that washing machine in the washing machine. I've thrown that shirt in the washing machine maybe like hundreds of times at this point, and it still looks brand new. They must have put some life fibers in that shit for real, because I don't understand. But that's what I mean. Like, I want something that has some taste on it. I don't want to be a walking billboard for a shirt that says Gucci on it. Ew. That's fucking gross. Jesus. Ew. Anita Sarkeesian hates Kill la Kill, where she would be wrong. I mean, listen, not everyone's right all the time. Kill la Kill is like 90% fan service. The reason why I like Kill la Kill is because it has some of the best female characters in like all of media. It's also managed to write a slapstick female character in a way that normally most media always relegates to male characters, namely Mako. Mako is the character that is usually written as like a chubby male character. That's like the slapstick that like brings levity to everything. But instead, it's like this very boisterous female character. And she grows on you, which is the cool part. Like, when I first started watching, I was like, I hate this character. Or like, this character's boring. And then as you keep watching it, you're like, wait, this character is the fucking go. This character is the go. Oh my God. And like, the cool thing about the show is that all of the female characters are actually well written. And that is like a rarity, by the way, in anime. It's a fucking rarity in anime to have different female characters with different personalities and different goals and different motivations that are written well. And then there's a bunch of fan service as well. But I almost feel like the fan service is self-aware. If that makes sense. Like it knows it's being ridiculous. It's still doing the fan service to do the fan service, but it's also aware of what it's doing. More importantly, again, I just like good female characters being written correctly, and it wrote them really well. Other than, yeah, Ragyo is written mediocre, but like villains in general are very hard to write because you don't have a lot to work with, right? But anyways, yeah. Yeah. Moving on. Ragyo's music was fire though, yeah. Oh yeah.
Set up a website where anyone who wants your custom shirt can get it shipped straight to their house. That's how easy it is. And you can do it all for $5 a shirt.
$5, guys. Okay, this is the same price as a Twitch sub.
Fucking wild. And all of this might have been fine if it weren't for the hilariously devastating problems with how we manufacture modern clothing. We actually did a whole video about fast fashion. I recently rewatched it, and honestly, it holds up pretty good. So give it a watch if you feel like it, link in the bio. But there are a few important points to hit in order to make this video work, and to make sure it's not boring, let's deliver them in the style of a classic BuzzFeed list.
Welcome. You've got mail.
I'm sorry for anyone who missed the text on that. I have to go back and read it out to you. It says,
Of a classic BuzzFeed list.
Dialing the easy target hotline, giving millennials nostalgic panic attacks, dusting off the ancient BuzzFeed joke, I think is what it said. I couldn't read it fast enough.
You've got mail.
Now this will come as a shock to exactly nobody, but there are a fucking ton of fully documented human rights abuses in the fashion industry. The only thing more impressive than the sheer number of violations is the variety of abuses, which include, but are not limited to, unsafe working conditions, including over 1,000 deaths in a single factory collapse. Forced labor.
Modern day slavery. That's what rights groups say is going on.
Brutally long hours. Sexual harassment. Child labor.
Silly, how old are you?
And so much more. To make 1,000 custom shirts for $4.95 a shirt, you're gonna have to cut costs. And that almost always means paying the people who make the shirts an absolutely unlivable wage. Just imagine paying someone to grow and harvest cotton, paying someone else to process it and spin it into thread, paying someone else to sew the shirt together, paying another person to dye the shirts, sew the tags on, and to print Killin' It and add a graphic from season 3 of The Walking Dead. Does that sound like the kind of thing you can pay someone a decent rate to make and still sell for $7.49?
Answer now in your notebook.
The estimates are all over the map, but no matter which study you pick, the global greenhouse gas emissions produced by the apparel and footwear industry are absolutely staggering! The UN clocks it at about 8% of all the greenhouse gas emissions humans produce. And these emissions come from multiple parts of the supply chain, like burning fossil fuels for industrial equipment and electricity demand to power machinery, but one of the big ones is transportation. In 1965, the United States made about 95% of our clothing domestically. By the 90s, it was down to 50%, and now we make 2% of our clothing here, which means 98% of our clothes are made in other countries. And that usually means multiple other countries because clothes are routinely sewn together in one country, shipped to another country to be printed, shipped to another country to be labeled and tagged, shipped to another country to be packaged before being shipped to America. And these trips are almost always being made using fossil fuel powered cargo ships, trains, or planes, which, and I hope you guessed it, emit a whole lot of greenhouse gases.
And do you want to know the absolutely worst part? It used to be the case that you could go to like Etsy and be like, you know what? I want to support American workers. I want to support American workers who are making things here in America, who are handcrafting this labor of love. And now Etsy is filled with drop shippers who are quadrupling their profits by selling it on Etsy. It's like, oh, handmade earrings for $40. Well, you know what? That is what it costs to sit there for a couple of hours to design it and then to bend the metal and to add the jewels and add everything else. Okay, yeah, that's a fair price. $40 for a pair of earrings is a little expensive, but it's going directly to the person who made them with love. Oh, it's all drop shipping. Oops, all scammers. Oops. These cost $2 to make in a factory.
I truly cannot overstate the volume here. We are drowning in products from places like Shein and Temu and whatever new ultra-fast fashion brands realize they can sell disposable clothes to fashion-crazed Americans. And I kind of mean drowning literally here, because there's an import loophole in the US called the de minimis exception that lets you ship a package to the US tariff-free if it's less than $800 in value. And in 2022, just Shein and Temu by themselves sent 210 million of these de minimis packages, which, interestingly enough, was the population of America when we used to make almost all of our clothes domestically. Really makes you think. Or maybe it doesn't. We just kind of needed an ending to this section, and that number kind of fit nicely. So that's how the sausage is made, baby. Before the year 2000, cotton was the #1 ingredient in clothing. And it's still a massive global crop today that's frequently grown in dry areas, requiring farmers to use a huge amount of water for irrigation. But don't worry, because they're only growing about 70 billion pounds of cotton every single year. But since 2000, there's a new king in town. I'm talking about polyester. And it is fucking everywhere, including more than half of all the textiles we use today. And here's the thing about polyester, it's just plastic, which means you right now are probably wearing plastic clothes. And where does 99% of all plastic come from? You guessed it, oil and gas. Congratulations, oil and gas. You're not just producing CO2 to ship the clothes, you are the clothes. And I sure would love to talk about microplastics right now. Oh boy, would I love to say something like between 200,000 and...
Polyester is such a cute name, though. I know. And polyester is like such a cute idea. Like, we get to recycle all this plastic and turn it into socks. Except for the fact that polyester doesn't last. Like, it's very rare that polyester clothing lasts. Almost anything you buy that has polyester or is made with polyester is going to pill, it's going to get destroyed in the washing machine, and it's going to melt in the dryer.
500,000 tons of microplastics from textiles enter the global marine environment each year, or even something like microplastics from your clothes can leach chemicals into your skin, and we're basically doing a huge global experiment to see how plastic tolerant the human body is, but this is a BuzzFeed list. So I guess you want to see which greenhouse gas you are based on who your middle school crush was? Remember the first 3 bullet points? Overproduction makes all 3 of those a lot worse. Now, the figures on how much we overproduce are actually really hard to nail down, partially because we produce so many clothes all across the world, and it's just really difficult to keep track of them. Each year, we probably make somewhere between 80 and 150 billion articles of clothing, and between—
What the fuck? I've had polyester stuff from Patagonia that's lasted almost a decade at this point. Not all polyester is treated equally. And also, not all polyester manufacturing is treated equally. Where the polyester is used, how it's used, how the polyester was produced is different. And so there was a time, I feel like, where polyester used to not be a big deal, and you could buy polyester clothes and they would be fine. And now almost all polyester, I feel like, that I have bought, it doesn't last more than a couple months.
10 and 40% is just wasted, never sold at all. And even if you take the low side of both of those ranges, without even considering the clothes people do buy that they probably don't really need, you end up with billions of pieces of unnecessary, brand new clothing heading right for the landfill or the incinerator. Or if they're really lucky, they'll get to live out the rest of their days in the beautiful Atacama Desert in Chile in a massive dystopian heap of trash clothes that apparently sometimes burns, releasing all those synthetic fabrics and chemicals back into the sky as toxic smoke. But I guess it's all worth it for an unlimited supply of shirts that say Bazinga.
Another one.
Ooh, baby, we're back again, because treating workers poorly and paying them as little as possible has become so normal.
I have a hate-love relationship with the movie Idiocracy and references to Idiocracy, because 50% of me sees a pile of clothing like that and thinks Idiocracy, and the other 50% of me is like, no, I refuse. I don't want to. No, we can't do that. We can't just assume that. Like, I know too many amazing, smart people that I could subscribe to an ideology that gives up. And then I see that and I'm like, ah.
Normal and so expected that even the premium brands are doing the same shit. In 2022, investigative journalism group Follow the Money published a report about sustainability golden child Patagonia. And it turns out Patagonia manufactures clothes in some of the same factories as fast fashion companies. The report claims that one day a factory might be manufacturing for Patagonia, but the next day it might be Target or Amazon or Nike or Zara. Now in 2015, Patagonia made a pledge to pay all their apparel assembly workers a living wage within 10 years. That deadline is next year. And what percent of factories that Patagonia uses pay a living wage? Oh no! Well, okay, who's reporting that? Because there's a lot of fake news out there these days. Oh no, it's their own website. And this
Oh no, chatter.
isn't to say Patagonia and Shein are both equally bad. Patagonia is one of the most sustainable large-scale apparel brands in the world. They're donating money to a bunch of good causes, they're facilitating the repurchase and reuse of their clothes through the Worn Wear program, and it was their own disclosure of their factories that led to the Follow the Money report. They appear to be doing a lot of the right things. That's how normalized this has become. And if we're really going down this rabbit hole, a lot of the clothing made in the US is from workers making less than minimum wage. There are sweatshops in America. The Department of Labor did a series of sting operations in Los Angeles and found labor violations in 85% of factories, including factories used by premium brands like Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus. So while you're almost guaranteed to be getting an environmentally damaging and or human rights abusing shirt if you pay $10 for it, you can pay $100 for a shirt that's doing a lot of the same stuff. It's enough to make you want to never put on a shirt again.
And this is what I mean when I say even major companies that used to pride themselves on quality. Like back when H&M was first sort of becoming mainstream, H&M being one of the first companies that engaged in like this fast fashion, just pumping out as much garbage as possible. Everybody knew that H&M was bad. Like everybody knew, oh, H&M clothing isn't going to last. But you could still go to Patagonia and be like, oh, the quality is good. Yeah, I'm paying 5 times as much as I am than I am, you know, buying something from H&M, but it's going to last me. And that used to be true. And now you can go to one of these stores that charges $100, $200 for a brand new t-shirt, sweater, jacket, pants, and they'll last the same amount because it's being made with the same lack of love and care.
So what do you do?
Why is he topless?
Sorry about that. I used to do that a lot. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so what do you do? Well, we asked ourselves the same question. Our first thought was to not make anything new at all. We ended up talking to a company that had 100 sun-damaged shirts to recycle. We got them to send those shirts to us instead. We printed Climate Town on them and sold them at live shows. Not too bad. But
I have to say, the male human body growing nipple hair is crazy. I understand when dudes have hairy chests and then the nipples have hair around them. That makes sense to me. It's like, yeah, well, you got the hair genes, okay. But like being totally smooth and then only having nipple hair is so fucking funny. Like you got a little like fucking moat. You got some fucking barbed wire to protect your nippy. It's so adorable. It's so good. It's great. Just like such an interesting like, what happened genetically there? Like what's going on? Fuck you. They get cold without their sweaters. It's so great. It's great. Yeah. They're wearing their little crown of thorns. It's so amazing. Literally my trans experience, 0 chest hair, occasionally plucking a nipple hair. It's protection against babies making a mistake. Maybe that's what it is. It's like the child wants, like your baby wants like milk. It's like milky now. And then it's like, wrong nipple. Maybe that's what, I don't even have this problem and I feel assaulted somehow. Maybe it's protection from like, you know how dudes who go jogging get like the nipple chafing? Maybe the hair helps with the nipple chafing. Good luck entering my areola fortress. Men be like, I always use protection and it's only about their nipples having hair. Okay, I'm done. No. I'm done. I think it's great.
While repurposing old shirts made sure we didn't add to the climate or labor problems, getting 100 sun-damaged shirts at random intervals isn't exactly a repeatable process for us or anyone else. And it doesn't do a lot to make sure we're supporting the few people who are going out of their way to change the fashion industry. So we didn't do shit for a few months.
I have a super hairy chest. I just shaved my nipples once and it looked grotesque. Oh my God.
But then one day, we came across a company called Ethics Merch. They run the merch program for the Sunrise Movement and Third Act, and also a ton of unions across the country. And when we asked them if they knew anybody who could make a t-shirt without, you know, underpaying their workers or beefing the planet too hard, they pointed us to a company in North Carolina called TS Designs, founded by a man named Eric Henry. His last name is a first name? That's a good start. See, originally TS Designs was a printer for a ton of major brands. You know, your Nikes, your Tommies, your Gaps, that sort of thing. They had 100 employees who all had good jobs and healthcare and retirement plans. But then after NAFTA and the globalization movement of the 1990s, they went from 100 employees to 20 in 2 years and were on the brink of bankruptcy.
One of the true economic miracles in the whole history of civilization.
But then Eric decided to shift his company to making sustainable apparel right here in the US. And about 15 years ago, they started making their Cotton of the Carolinas shirts. Instead of sending every shirt thousands of miles to be put together, they used the radical breakthrough technology of getting cotton from a local farmer, processing it locally, and then making it into shirts and printing on it right there in the same part of the Carolinas. It travels less than 800 miles to go from the farm to a full-on finished shirt. And if you're having trouble visualizing this, here's a nice map I made showing the cotton traveling around Indiana Jones style. And this map is not a guess, because every company that touches this shirt is trackable and verifiable. There's even a QR code in the tag of the shirt that you can scan to see all the companies along the chain who, by the way, are paying their employees a living wage. You want to call the Cotton Ginner? Okay, they might not pick up, They might be busy, but that's their number. And also, Cotton of the Carolinas shirts are truly 100% cotton, which means they're not messing around with plastic at all, not even in the thread. Also, they dry farm their cotton, which means it doesn't require extra
And also what I will say, a lot of creators I know who have merch, like friends of mine who have merch, their merch is actually really nice quality. I've talked about it before, but I have some pants and like a sweater from Jarvis Johnson, and I'm not sure about which company he uses. I don't know the details about it. But I will say I'm pretty sure it's 100% cotton, and it's really nice quality, like actually genuinely nice quality. And I have a lot of respect for creators who aren't selling straight fucking garbage. It's never happened to me, but the day it happens to me, I'm going to be so mad. Buying creator merch, and then I put it in the washing machine once and it starts pilling.
irrigation.
The way we determine if cotton's ready to pick is if that seed will pop. Did you hear that pop?
TS Designs has even developed their own printing process, which doesn't leave ink on top of the shirts, which makes them easier to recycle, or if they're in a landfill, decompose. Finally, scraps from production go to a company called Material Return, which is a worker-owned cooperative, by the way, pretty cool, who recycle them into recycled cotton thread. What I'm trying to say is that we just really like what companies like TS Designs are up to. And for the record, they did not pay us to say this. Quite the opposite. We paid them thousands of dollars to do a run of Climate Town shirts, but we also think it's important to shout them out as much as possible because it's good to promote things you want to see more of in the world. TS Designs, Cotton of the Carolinas, QR codes. And of course, any good band shirt needs art. Luckily, AI can do that for free, and it's actually getting pretty good at remembering that hands usually have 5 fingers. So you illustrators out there. No, I'm just kidding. We hired a fantastic artist named Margalit Cutler, whose work has been in the New Yorker, New York Magazine, and a bunch of other places not from New York. She made us a couple of slick designs, and here they are. Pretty cool, huh? 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 Okay, that's too many faces. And just in case you forgot who made the art, bop, 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 bop. There's her signature right there. Pretty sneaky, huh? Anyway, Margalit's art gets printed on those Cotton of the Carolinas shirts, which then go to the good folks at Ethics, where they drop them in a recycled cardboard shipper from a company called Eco Enclose and send them right off to you, finally completing the Indiana Jones map.
Nazis. I hate these guys.
Wow, you couldn't make a movie like Indiana Jones anymore, what with cancel culture. Anyway, that's the story of how we made Climate Town shirts. We printed up 423 of each design, and we're gonna see how it goes. Proceeds go directly back to making videos like this, and also podcasts and newsletters, and whatever the hell this is.
Is anyone here a doctor?
We don't need a
For
doctor.
real? Anybody got a master's
I just
degree?
need a little bit of water, just a little bit of water.
A master's degree in a hard science?
Just a little bit of water.
A hard science, right there. Get up here!
Is this the perfect process? Again, probably not. But I think it's a good way to get the ball rolling in the other direction, and if you yourself are thinking about having some custom t-shirts made for your band, or your bachelorette party, or your pharmaceutical convention, I think these are some good things for you to keep in mind on your t-shirt journey. And they may cost a little bit more, but that's closer to what a t-shirt should actually cost. Anyway, here's the shirts that we made. Pretty cool, huh? Back to you, Raleigh. Thanks, Raleigh. Okay, let's wrap this thing up. There are a lot of climate-y problems that are so far outside of the hands of individuals that the only thing that can really help is big, policy-induced systemic change. And while there are a lot of parts of fast fashion that could benefit from policy change, in this case, consumer demand, aka us buying stuff, is also a major factor. But bonus, it's a factor that you, yes you, not you, too tall, but yes you, and even you can have some control over. You can start by wearing the clothes you already have. And if your wardrobe is totally busted like mine is, and you want to switch it up a little bit, you can do a clothing swap with your friends or community, or buy used clothes secondhand. Remember, a lot of these secondhand clothes have probably never even been worn. I mean, it's a pretty thin upside to our overproduction problem, but it's there. You can also be more discerning with your buying habits by trying to send a clear market signal by buying from companies that you feel are doing a good job. It is super hard to shop with any kind of certainty nowadays because companies know what they're doing is a problem and will often fill their websites with empty promises rather than actual change. But there are some links in the description to help you find some responsible manufacturers, and also a few minutes on popular search engine google.com can give you a better sense of who you're thinking of buying from. It ain't easy. Okay, if it was easy, it wouldn't be a huge problem. And I wish it was as simple as never buy any clothes ever again. But even that falls victim to the divest versus invest problem. There's a big push to divest from things like fossil fuels, corporate farming, and fast fashion, and that is a...
And again, I'll say it as many times as I have to. You can get really good quality stuff thrifting. Like really, really good quality stuff thrifting. So I think it's one of the best options for affordable clothing because it will actually probably last you. Especially if you can find clothes that have like designer tags or tags that say that they were made like in the 2000s. Chances are you're actually buying something that will last you a while. You can get a lot of stuff above 2XL thrifting in my area, at least. That's the one problem with thrifting, which is not everything is made in great sizes, and it will take you a while to find. I mean, I go into to get stuff thrifted, and I wear small tops, large bottoms, and it's still pretty hard to find stuff. Like, I struggle to find nice shirts and nice pants, and it takes a while because you have to find something that suits you, you have to find something that fits you, you have to find something you also like, and but it's worth it. It's worth the effort. It's worth the effort to get something that actually will last you a good amount of time. Being a man with a dumpy is hard. I fucking imagine, dude. I imagine.
Really great push. Like, keep doing that for sure. But going the extra mile means reinvesting on the solution side of the problem, like investing in renewable energy, regenerative agriculture, or slow fashion. So by all means, adjust your personal buying habits, but just remember, nothing hits quite like policy. And lucky for us, there's a hot little bill coming through the New York State Legislature called the Fashion Act. And if it gets passed as is, any fashion brand clearing over $100 million in annual revenue would be subject to a litany of environmental and human rights standards. It's honestly a little that the only way to get companies to care about the environment or human rights is to force them to, but them's the breaks. Our friends over at Climate Changemakers have put together a whole playbook on ways you can get involved with your state legislature, and you can check it out, link in the description. And once more, with feeling this time, we made Climate Town shirts. I'm so happy about them. They came out really great. Buying them will not save the planet, but it was an incredibly eye-opening experience trying to go through the process of making shirts with any amount of sustainability in mind. And if you'd like to commemorate that process by buying yourself a t-shirt, I think that would be a very cool idea you just had. There's a link right below the YouTube video, should be right below the YouTube video. I'm not 100% sure that we will have figured that out by the time you're watching this. So if it's not there, check in the description. If it is there, you can use that link if you feel like it. Okay.
Yeah, I have a very mild allergy to cats, but I found that out after I got my cats. And Mayor Cat is worth it, so.
Okay, big thanks to Eric Henry and TS Designs for making shirts that we actually feel good about bringing into this world. And also thanks again to Ethics Merch and folks like Daniel and Ruth who guided us through this process and are running the store for us. They're working on...
Maybe I'll make some merch with these guys. Because the merch has been something that's been on my to-do list on like stuff that I'd love to make with you guys. But I just haven't been bothered to fucking look into like the details of finding a good company that sells merch that isn't complete trash and isn't exploiting people. They have 6-month allergy treatments they have 6-month treatments for allergies, weekly/biweekly shot. Ooh. Maybe I'll look into it because I used to take allergy pills and then I found that they were ruining my immune system and I was getting sick all the time. And I stopped taking the allergy pills and now I never get sick anymore. So I figure, you know what? If it means I just sneeze a couple times in a day, I'm down. I don't care. I'm a grown up. I can deal with it. Have you tried the egg white cat food addion thing? No? Have you heard of the chicken egg cure for cat allergies? No. Feed your cats egg whites? Does it cause them to have less like dander or something? Luckily, again, excuse me, let me write that down. Chicken. I just figure, you know what? If all it means is I just sneeze a little bit, whatever. That's fine. I don't mind sneezing once in a while. I'll reiterate what Mike said. Hassan's the only person that's been known to have very good merch. He literally had to buy everything union made shirt in the States. Yeah. And it's like, for me, what's disgusting is the creators who sell creator merch. That is like $65 a shirt. And the merch is all made in China. It's like, okay, man. All right. He's the only person? No, the message said, I'll reiterate what Mike said. Hassan is the only person that he knows to have made really good merch. That is to say, Mike has said that Hassan is the only person he's known to have really good merch. I'm sure there's lots of other creators that have really good merch. I haven't personally looked into and like double checked all of the merch of all of the companies of all of the people that I know of. But I think Gremlo uses the same shirt vendor as well. And it's like, for me, it's just that creators, a lot of the big like very large creators already make so much money. I don't get mad when small creators make merch and their merch is like, this isn't very ethical, because it's like, hey man, you're probably barely paying your bills anyways when you're at a few hundred viewers. Like, yeah, okay, I understand. I'm not going to go after you. I'm not going to spend my time going after you. But it's the very large creators that are like, they have so much fucking money and they're still scamming their audience and using slave labor and overcharging. And it's just so fucked up. It's just so fucked up to me. It's wild when rich creators have expensive merch and do rug pulls on their audience. Yeah, it's like, damn, you just like have no respect for your audience at all. You don't mind selling shit that you know is going to last 2 washes. So you can make a few extra dollars? What the fuck, dude? Like, Jesus. Okay. Okay. Do you have merch design ideas? That's the other thing that's stopping me. I want to have a cool design. I don't want it to just have a logo on it or have just something that says Denims on it. I want it to have something that's like fun, right? Something that it feels like anyone could wear and anyone can like see and think, oh, I want one of those. Ooh, I think that would be cool. And designing is hard.
Connecting
Yeah.
ethical and sustainable apparel companies with people who want to buy ethical and
Stop it. Climate Town. Speak when spoken to. Put Mayor Cat on it. Yeah, I would probably hire like I would have to like sit down and find like an artist that I really like to design like a really cool thing, like a really cool design that it feels like anyone could wear that shirt outside and people will tell you, nice shirt.